You are refreshed. Now what?
Good afternoon. This creation process is just an incredible thing. And I understand that from our creations, I just see the world expanding all the time. And on our Belvedere tour today, we saw a goat on the side of the road giving birth. And it was just marvelous just to see this goat beneath the great mountains and among the trees just creating. And my wife said to me, "Those are very smart goats that are getting born." And I agreed. And so I've been thinking about creation and what creation is. But one of the things that puzzles me is what talent is. What is artistic talent? Why did Mozart have the ability to play concertos and compose at 4, and I'm at 54 and I'm trying to learn to play the ukulele?
Well, first you have to accept that you did not begin at that moment of what you call physical birth. And that in the same way that now you are reaching from your current place of awareness for something more, that you have been reaching for some time. In other words, the consciousness that is you and the intentionality that is you did not begin just now. So then the question is, does that mean that there were intentions that we held prior to our emergence? And we say, yes. And sometimes they are specifically focused. In other words, you could, in this physical life experience, find such satisfaction in something that you've accomplished that you set forth the intention to experience it in its fullness again and again and again. And so you come forth intending to express because there is more satisfaction that you're wanting to achieve from that. For the most part, as you make your intention to come forth, you know that the contrast, you trust that the contrast will be significant enough that it will evoke from you enough to sustain your continually unfolding pleasant journey. But
so you're just saying, give it time and I'll learn how to play?
We are saying, probably not. Because the desire was not focused within you as you came, and your life has not caused you to significantly ask for it now. Not in that way. In other words, if you're making a Beethoven comparison, it's not there.
Right. Okay. Another question I have is kind of about the same thing. Could you tell or give me more information about what is the difference between non-physical energy and physical energy? It seems like it's all the same, just spiraled differently.
Well, there is no difference. The energy or vibration is vibration. Let's call it a constant. But there are frequencies within energy or frequencies within vibration that vary, just as you discover from music. Mm-hmm. And so the frequency of non-physical just is non-resistant by your standards. In other words, the resistance that is present in non-physical energy would be undiscernible from your physical format. Let's put it that way. There is contrast in everything, but the contrast in the vortex is non-discernible from your physical format.
Now, the intention that Mozart had when Mozart was in non-physical was it that intention that created that birth of Mozart, or what's going on there? Do ideas get born in non-physical and then poof, it becomes physical? Is that the...
Well, it's not an easy thing to find a new thought, because creation has been expanding for a very long time. And you have to remember that, so just starting with an an explanation point for you. We say you were source energy, and a part of that came forth into this body, and the source energy part of you still remains. And in this body, you explore and identify more that you want to become, and the source energy part of you becomes it. And then the completion of that cycle is you finding vibrational alignment with that which you have become. So as long as you are still focused in your physical body, this non-physical part of you is expanding. And so something really worth considering here, it's a very big question, is does that non-physical energy expand without the physical contrast that causes it to do so? And the answer to that question is yes, but not as rapidly, because the greater contrast causes greater expansion, and in the non-physical there is less contrast. It's more focusing upon what is. These words are not completely accurate because there's not a way to find physical description of this. But here, this is pretty close. Non-physical energy has become the culmination that the contrast expanded, and non-physical expends its focus in maintaining the expansion that has been achieved. Did you get that?
Yes.
Oh, so one more time.
Yes.
You, in your physical form, who are extensions of source energy, said, the part I would like to play now in this creative process is I will be a pioneer who explores the greater frontiers of vibration. I'll experience more contrast, and out of it, I will personally discern improvement. And the non-physical part of you said, and I will remain as the constant of the improvement already discovered. And I will be the placeholder of the newfound expansion.
Mm-hmm.
So you come forth and mix it up and complain about it and put all kinds of things in this vortex where source stands, and source gives undivided attention to the solution to the problem, to the answer to the question, and maintains the vibrational stability of that, so that that stability can, in time, once it has been focused into alignment by the non-resistive source, into the physical reality. Now, have you ever heard a more accurate or reasonable or understandable description of how your planet came to be? Far better description than Genesis.
Oh.
And yet not very different from it. In other words, man wants to say that God created all of this. And we say there have always been those pioneers that reach, and there's always been that stable energy that focuses, and the combination of the two is the best of all worlds, you see. So, in the same way that we can't separate you. In other words, everything that we talk about is in an effort to help you understand that while you're here in this body, you are still this. And so, in the same way, we must say, while we are still this, we're here in this body. In other words, this is source expanding, you see. This is step 1 and step 2 and step 3. Contrast is the stuff of all expansion. And focus is the stuff that allows the thought to become manifested reality. So, how do we decide which part of Mozart set forth the intention to play again and so well, so young? Mm-hmm. And we say, does it really matter? Was it the source part of him? Was it the physical part of him? We say, well, the source part of him doesn't exist without the physical part of him, not in any expansive way, and the physical part of him doesn't exist without the source part of him. In other words, we really are all in this together, you see.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of times what happens...
Let us interrupt just for a moment,
sure.
because there's another piece of this that will help. There are a lot of physical humans that do a lot of sorting and having step one experiences, and a lot of creating goes into their vibrational reality, who during the duration of this lifetime, because they're trying to please others rather than come into alignment with self, don't allow themselves the physical fruition that the contrast has caused them to expand to. So they're not all that satisfied with life, but when they have their releasing of consciousness experience, which is really what the death experience is, no longer focusing through this apparatus, and so like meditation or like slumber, releasing all resistant thought and reemerging back into non-physical. So at what you call your death experience, you become that whole consciousness, and it is from that perspective that you make your next decision to come forth. So there is unquestioningly a continuity of the you who continues to come forth. So it's possible that you could pick things up along the physical trail in one life experience that you would intend to relive in more dramatic experience in the next. In fact, it's always the case in the sense that you keep wanting to come back and continue to create in this earth environment to which you are so tied, you see. It is so satisfying to continue the expansion. Yes.
Well, one other thing, and you may have just answered that, and if I'd listened to the CD, I'll probably say, oh yeah, she already answered that before I ask the question. But these people that come in with great talent, or at least what we perceive and we attribute as great talent,
we would call it focus.
Focus doesn't necessarily make them happier, because there's a lot of people that have had this wonderful ability to express themselves, but we've all seen that they've been tortured or they weren't happy people.
They are happy in the moment of the alignment, and that is when the talent that you are describing is present. But so let us just put it in the context of the vortex. From inside the vortex, their talent becomes apparent. But that doesn't mean that they are always inside the vortex. And you're discovering this about yourselves. The more time you deliberately spend inside the vortex, the more miserable you are anytime you're out there. Esther has said to us, Abraham, I'm sure I've been outside the vortex a lot during my life, and I'm a little bothered that now it is more unpleasant. Because the more you are in, and in other words, the more you consciously acknowledge your ability, it's like any expectation. Once you've established the expectation, you must achieve it in order to maintain your balance. Yes?
Right.
Enough?
Enough. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.